Hello guys, so my name is Mika. I'm a student at the University of Pennsylvania and also I am a applied machine learning researcher. Previously I focused mostly in computer vision and recommendation systems and also a bit in graph neural networks. Um, and now I'm kind of creating this first ever video vlog, research vlog, where I will be sharing my research journey as I want to learn more about 3D generative modeling and uh, and basically all the things that we can do with deep learning in 3D, generation of 3D assets, and all of this kind of interesting stuff that it could be applied in game development and new media. And I think this journey will be very difficult. My final goal is to create some interesting research in this area and hopefully even publish it maybe. This is my goal for the next few months, and um, and yeah, I will be sharing my process and my progress with you through this kind of videos. I will be showing you what I learned, sharing some insights, showing the whole process, all my mistakes and insights. And every time I change my mind about something, I will be sharing that with you through these videos. And this is also a way for me to document what I'm doing and kind of feel more accountable and manage my uh, expectations, but also manage my pace of work so that I make sure I make some progress week to week. Um, yeah. So as I mentioned, I want to focus on this 3D sphere because I went come back from Pan and I did a lot of I started digging through all of interesting publications, the major publications that happened in second part of 2022 and this part of 2023 up till now. And I have to admit, there is crazy progress everywhere. A lot of interesting stuff going on, but in different modalities like text and images, I feel like a lot of this progress is coming from scaling the data, obviously, and scaling the models. And I don't have access to too much data and too big models. And I cannot train too big models. So uh, I was curious about something else where I could do something interesting, and I wanted to do something that is related to media and gaming, as these are two industries that I feel very strongly about. I think they are very exciting. I love to build stuff that is magical with my technology, stuff that can surprise people, and I think we can do a lot of interesting, cool stuff in gaming that could not be possible without AI. That and I think we didn't start even doing that yet. So I was thinking about this 3D domain as interesting thing where we could apply a lot of stuff that we learned in the domain of if the modalities of text and images into this 3D domain, and we could perhaps do something interesting there. Maybe even like things like text into asset generation, directly generate 3D mesh that you can put into your game from the text, for example. That's the first very simple idea. Obviously, many people try that, and I think it's not solved yet, definitely. But that's even more exciting, right? And I think we could, and I had some general thoughts and ideas as I was going through all of this research, not necessarily in 3D, but in general, all the research that happened in voice, uh, in video, in text, in images, and I wanted to kind of apply and research this 3D space specifically because I thought, okay, this has a lot of potential here. We could apply some tricks from there into the 3D domain and then perhaps create something for gaming. And this is what I will be working on. So uh, in this research vlog, dev vlog, I don't know what I will call this yet, but in this video, I will just show you around my Notion page that I made 2 days ago, show you like 3 very interesting papers that made me very excited about this research direction. And um, and yeah, and that will be it. And in the next one, we can go through directly through some specific research papers, talk about like what insights we can gather from this research paper, also talk about what kind of research papers from other modalities could be an inspiration for the 3D modality and what we could apply here. And all of my thoughts I will be sharing with you in the next videos of this series. So already, if you're interested in following that journey, go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I promise the quality of the videos and the content will be growing with my experience also growing in this new thing I'm doing. So yeah, thank you for staying so far, and let's move to the Notion file and all the research. Okay, so here we are. So uh, as I said, first idea I had was, okay, how about we can generate just 3D assets from text? If we can just put it into a game, that would be super exciting. We could do a lot of interesting stuff with it. We could allow people to create games more easily. We could help 3D designers perhaps like generate some general assets and then improve the assets that require more higher fidelity by hand. So I started going through this research. Obviously, I knew about Nerve, but I also knew that Nerve, for those of you who don't know what is Nerve, Nerve is like a ray tracing camera. Okay, we're back. Okay. Yeah, so going back to Nerve. So Nerve, great, thanks. We can visualize 3D spaces in amazing way, and it has a lot of we can do a lot of good things in visualizations, but not necessarily a good thing for game development because it's really hard to edit Nerve. It's hard to combine them and extend them. And that's why I was thinking about actually, instead of doing Nerve or other this kind of implicit function representation of 3D models, if I could actually create assets that are very similar to assets created by game designers, that could be much more useful for gaming applications. And so that's what I wanted to focus on. And so other key idea I had while looking through the all the research papers that happened and all the progress that we made was that basically large language models are great because they can learn the whole internet, and that gives them new power of semantic understanding, thanks to this self-supervised training and great amount of data, right? And this is not something we had before, and this enables a lot of new applications. Then we have this language to text to image models that actually generate images and have some kind of visual understanding, and we have all of the 2D images generation with that, and that's very useful. But we don't have we are not even close to having that much 3D assets to be able to do something similar in 3D, because everyone can write text, I mean nearly everyone, and many people can take photos with their iPhone, but not that many people can create a 3D asset, and that's something that's gonna stay with us. Like, there are not that many 3D assets, even if we would be able to scrape all of the 3D games that we have published on Steam, which is not necessarily, there's a lot of questions about that, if that would be legal. But even assuming we could do that, that's not necessarily even of similar scale to text to image models. Um, so my idea was we need to use these priors from text and images to actually do something in 3D. We need to extract this semantic understanding so that we can control the model, and then use the image to text models, text to image models, so that we can actually put on top of this understanding some kind of visual notion of the data. And using that, we could just go directly into 3D and use some kind of 3D data in the fine-tuning step, just to introduce this new representation of these 2D visuals in this 3D manifold, kind of as like a mesh normal map plus texture, right? So that would be approach that I was looking into, and that was my first intuition. Um, and key way for me, I think, to contribute to this research is not necessarily to go down the rabbit hole of this 3D research only, because there are a lot of people who probably spend time only doing 3D research. I want to introduce new ideas from image, from language, from video into 3D. Some approaches that might have not been tested yet. I think that could be where I could contribute. So that's what I'm gonna try. Um, and I started looking around for anything that is related to that. So first thing I found, obviously, was this 0, 1 to 3 um, 0 shot 1 image to 3D object paper. And I was so surprised because it was exactly what I was thinking. People from Colombia um, built this new model where they generate a new view of the object from some kind of point of view, like in this image, from a point of view that is not present in the data. It's not directly generated yet, so we generate new point of view image, and with that we can render a 3D asset. But in that case, we are actually rendering nerve, so that's what I don't want to do. But what they are doing, they are using this already trained stable diffusion models that are pre-trained on a lot of text-to-image data to achieve this new view visualization. So what they specifically do, they're actually taking this kind of input that is generated from the stable diffusion, and then they say what kind of other view they want to get, and they get synthesized new view of the object. And this is very, very cool. They directly integrate this control over the camera point of view on the object into the model. They just actually add a layer into the model and just fine tune using 3D data. And the 3D data was interesting also, comes from this uh, new data set that was actually published also like 3 months ago, that is using 800,000 3D models that was collected from Sketchfab. And all of this is under Creative Commons license, so these are pretty good 3D models published there. And yeah, this is new data set, and it's very useful. And actually, it was in December, but I don't know when it was available to the public. But nevertheless, I think this is very interesting and exciting thing to do. But as I said, this allows us to generate nerve, and I would rather have some kind of mesh and texture that we can work on further. And this is some older paper. I mean, I'm saying older, but this is September 2022. But they also used a clip, which is language, image to language or image to text model from OpenAI. That was very important contribution from them to build an actual mesh and actual 3D assets. Obviously, the quality of this is not that high yet, not even close to be that high. But this was I think one of the first ideas in this direction of using these priors to actually build the 3D asset. And in the meantime, obviously in the meantime there was also this paper, Dream Fusion, that is doing text to 3D, also using 2D diffusion models. It's also generating nerves. And I think the quality is interesting, but yeah, I think this was very popular. I saw it when I was at Penn, and I was very excited about this. There is a lot of bugs in this generated assets, but it's very interesting direction for the research, and for me it was one of the things that motivated me to actually look more into this 3D generation and 3D synthesis task. So yeah, I'm looking through many research papers. Here is a list of other research papers that I'm going to look into. Some of them are from NVIDIA. One of the most interesting ones is this Get3D. They're actually using adversarial network setting. This is very interesting, and they are actually generating a geometry. I am very excited about learning more about that. Yeah, and I think that's the most important key points that I wanted to share today. I will be diving deeper into all of these papers. I already read this two very carefully, and I think I get everything that I need to understand here. But all of these research papers, I need to look through them more carefully. I will be sharing all of the insights I have in the next videos. So if you stayed until now, thank you so much for watching. I will be sharing more of this. And if you are interested in following my journey, you can subscribe, you can like this, whether on LinkedIn or on YouTube. And if you have any insights, comments, something I should look into, please let me know in the comments. So that's it from me. Thank you so much. Bye.